Hey everyone, this is Kristin Sherry. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Maximize 365, a year of actionable tips to transform your life from my 2021 Motivational Book of the Year from the Indie Book Awards. I'm going to talk about, I have to take a step back. We are in the relationship section, the relationship chapter of the book, in the communication section. And today we're going to talk about giving feedback. So I want to ask you a question. Do you have people in your life that you have chalked up as people who can't take feedback? And I wonder, how many of those people do we think they're the problem when maybe the way we give feedback might be the problem? It's always two sides to a coin. So there are people, no matter how well you give feedback, that are going to be defensive, prideful, dismissive. That's something they need to work through. But there are people who would be willing to listen to feedback, who would be open to not being defensive if our approach were slightly different. So today I'm going to teach you a very simple technique that my mother taught me. And I can tell you it's pretty rare for people to get defensive when I give feedback. I can't remember the last time someone was defensive when I gave them feedback, in fact. So the quote today comes from Frank A. Clark and says, "Criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish a man's growth without destroying its roots." If you reflect on that quote, it's a balance, right, of cultivating growth in a person, but not pouring down that feedback that it just completely washes out and uproots the person. So, feedback given poorly has the power to cause destruction and despair. Feedback delivered well uplifts, encourages, and appreciates. My mother taught me a simple yet effective process to give feedback she calls a plus delta. So think about plus as positive, what's going well, and delta is the symbol for change. So plus is what's going well, and delta is what needs to change. So you start with the plus. Ask the person what they think is going well with whatever you're evaluating. So let's just say you're managing someone and you're having a one-on-one and you say, let's talk about what are the things that are going well with respect to, and you can point it to a specific project they're working on, or your relationship with the person, whatever. You just point it at a specific focus. And after they finish listing what's going well, you add something you think the person is doing well. So you might have a periodic evaluation in your marriage, for example, or as a parent with your teen. What do you think is going well in our relationship? And then after you hear them out, you can say, oh yeah, I agree with that. I would also add, I think you've been really great about whatever, or I've really enjoyed fill in the blank. So you add something that's going well. And then when you get to the delta, what needs to change, you're going to ask the person what they think could be done better or what needs to change. You allow a person to be the one to surface things that might need to change. So for example, your employee might be delivering reports late every week, and they're going to know they're doing that. So they might say, well, I could do a better job of delivering the Monday reports by 10 a.m. Now, of course, there are going to be people who have blind spots, who don't know they're doing some things. That's what you have to remember. Sometimes people's weaknesses, they're not aware of them. So we have to bring those things up when people are not aware of those. And so we'll get to that. So after the person is finished, if they mention your concern, the thing that you want to give feedback about, you can state your agreement on that item and then expand the conversation to offer your observations. So I agree, that would be great if the reports could come in at 10 a.m. on Monday. Here are some of the downstream impacts it's causing when they're late. Is there anything that's causing a barrier? Do you need support? Talk to me a little bit about what you think is preventing the improvement there, so you can surface some barriers of why it's not going well. And then if they haven't mentioned what you think needs to change, you can add it to the list after they've finished. So it could be something like, they add all those things that need to change. Oh, that's a great list. Or thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. So if you're talking to like your child, a teen, for example, and they list some things that they think could be better, you could ask, what do you think about? And just pose something that you think needs to change. What do you think about this? Here's what I've observed. What are your observations on that? What are your thoughts on that? And so you'll notice it's not a, hey, I just want to talk to you because lately you've been doing whatever, and all of a sudden the person is just like completely caught off guard and their guard's going to go up. But when you're having a conversation and you start with the positives of what's going well about something and you listen to them first about what's going well and what needs to change, and then you're just saying, well, what do you think about this as well? And just sharing your observation. You're in a situation now where you're having a dialogue. You're not just coming up and saying, hey, I need to talk to you, and boom, dropping this bomb on the person. So they're going to you're creating an environment where they're more likely to be receptive. So you want to practice, this is your idea for action. You want to practice giving feedback using the plus delta model with a trusted friend before giving feedback to someone else. And have that trusted friend give you feedback on how you gave feedback. So how well did you deliver your message? Was it direct with respect? That's the key. We're always trying to give feedback direct with respect. The reason you want to give feedback direct is because people will see between the lines when you're dancing around something, and that just frustrates people. So you want to get to the point, but the respect piece keeps it from being blunt force trauma when you're giving this feedback in a direct manner. So have you ever tried an approach like the plus delta model to give feedback? Tell me about it in the comments. And how well do you tend to give feedback? Do people tend to respond well? Let me know. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'm going to talk about how to receive feedback better in the next episode. Take care.